Also a reality. So we have in the studio Princess Fumi Hancock. Good morning.
Princess of Suburbia, Princess Fumi, Stephanie,
Again, the Princess of Suburbia, Princess Fumi Hancock.
Hello, this is Dr. Fumi Stephanie Hancock. I'm an African princess living in diaspora, a psychiatric mental health doctor of nurse practice with combined 30 years of experience in social work and in nursing. Growing up in Africa was never easy. There were two things I always wanted to become. One was to become a writer and the other was to become a nurse. However, with the latter, I could not do that in those days. In those days, nursing was looked on as just a servant kind of a position. It was looked on as someone who had no brains, but someone who was kind of like flighty. It was looked on as someone who had nothing to contribute to the society besides carry the pants, the bed pants for physicians. However, when I came to the United States of America, I decided for myself, well, this was my chance to become a nurse. People call it the blues. In America, they call it the blues. In Europe and Africa, they say, oh, it's the blues. Okay, when somebody just have a baby and the person is staying by themselves, they say, oh, don't touch her because she's going through her blues. So what happens when you are feeling down after delivering your baby? This is our topic today. This was my chance to follow my dream, and the two dreams were writing. And so because of that, I began to write, and I began to write about social justice. I began to write about things that I care about. I began to write about humane stories that matter, stories of nurses who are working hard.
The Literary Award, Arts Award, is presented to Dr. Princess Fumi S. Hancock.
And before I knew it, I fell into social work for 16 years. And after social work, I knew that I had to do something. I had to do something besides just following other people's dreams. I had to become a nurse. And because of that, I went ahead and I began to look for ways to become a nurse. And before I knew it, and now a doctor of nurse practice. Do you know what is funny about it? My family now boasts of at least 5 nurses with 3 nurse practitioners. And now nursing is quite different than what it is now. What was it before in Africa? Today, nurses are actually making strides. They're doing incredible work. And this is why I am a nurse practitioner. And so when I got to US, I always knew that I cared. I love that caring aspect of it. I wasn't sure which angle I was going to go, but I loved nursing more than medicine because I felt like nursing would allow me to actually care, where medicine is just like, just write it and keep going.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got into nursing. And as I got into nursing, I felt like, okay, I want to be able to have my own clinic. I want to be able to practice the way I want. And more importantly, it wasn't so much for diabetes and things like that, but I wanted mental health, and that's how I got into it. Other part of it was my mother, who is a diabetic. Now, how many of you know the impact that diabetes can have? It can ravage a whole family. And my mother, who happens to be the matriarch of the family, has diabetes. And we had to find a solution. We had to find a solution to it. And because of that, myself and the rest of my sisters decided we were going to be nurses. And if we had times where we were frustrated about moving forward to become a nurse, those were the opportunities that got us to move forward to ensure that we became a nurse. And then the third part of it, the third reason about me becoming a nurse, I remember that fateful night around 12 midnight. I had lost my home. I had lost my businesses. I had lost my husband. I only had 2 children, which were 2.5 and 4. I thought that everything was over for me. I could not see my way through the dark hole. This African princess could not go back home to ask her family for help. I was reading with guilt. I was filled with shame. I was sad and I was suicidal. And lo and behold, I found myself at the Verrazano Bridge in New York, trying to plunge down the bridge. But something saved me. Someone, may I say, saved me. Someone above that I trust saved me. And I said to myself, I promised myself, dear God, if you get me out of this suicidal situation, if you get me out of this deep depression that I've found myself, if you get me out of poverty, I will forever use my life to serve others. Nursing to me is using my life to serve others. Writing, on the other hand, is helping me to use my life to serve others. And today I live a dream that nobody could ever think that I would ever live. I live the dream of being able to use the two things that I love the most to serve the world. This is why I do nursing.
My name is Tanya Banks, and you're watching.
Hi, my name is Robert Oyemese Peters. You're watching.
I'm Takia Crystal Kima, and you are watching.
My name is Jamike, and you are watching the International Diaspora Network. God bless. Thank you.
Until next time, family, I am Dr. Princess Fumi Hancock. I say be inspired, be motivated, be of sentimental value. Understand that you are the hero or heroine in your life story. Do not allow anybody to write your story. And when you write your story, write it brilliantly. Until next time, bye for now.